Welcome to Community Cocktails with Kimberly, hosted by Kimberly Woodard, a realtor for more than 18 years with Ebby Halliday Realtors. She has received numerous awards, including Multi-Million-Dollar Producer, quarterly and annual company-wide honor roll recognition, VIP Customer Service Award for highest client ratings, D Magazine's Best Realtor, 5-Star Professional Award, and several other recognitions for her success and service to clients. Join her each week as she meets with the top community influencers to help you get to know the area you want to call home. Don't just love your home, love your community. And now, here's your host, Kimberly Woodard.
And good afternoon, viewers. I am so excited about this episode of Community Cocktails with Kimberly. I have a special guest, Rebecca Silvestri, today with Local Profile, formerly known as Plano Profile. Rebecca, thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly. I'm really excited to be here.
Yes. Well, let's talk about, you came here about 4 years ago, and how did it all happen with the purchase of the magazine and everything?
So my husband and I were living in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
We own a publishing company down in the Dominican Republic, and we came to Fort Worth to get married. And we we got married in the stockyards, cowboy hats, cowboy boots, the whole 9 yards. Very different
from where you're from. Where you're coming. Most people go to the Dominican Republic for a little get. You guys came to Fort Worth.
Exactly, yeah. And we did it full on cowboy because we had people come from all over the world.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
Very fun.
And so on our wedding day, my husband turned to me and he was like, "Hey, honey, I have some interesting news." So I said, "Well, okay, what is it?" And he said, "Well, I just purchased Plano Profile." Not what I was expecting on my wedding day.
Not the wedding gift you were expecting?
No. So I literally just said, "I'm going to need another drink." And I had several more. It was my wedding day.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and then the next thing I knew, we moved to Plano and we started running Plano Profile.
Oh, and never looked back.
We never looked back. You're right, like, literally never looked back. 2 kids later, and here we are having the time of our lives.
Oh, that's a great story. And I mean, you would have known, at your wedding, you'd be here, and where the magazine would have become from that 4 years ago, or about 4 years ago. So, well, let's talk about the magazine and the changing, because you guys just changed the name from Plano Profile to Local Profile, and let's kind of talk about what why the change, what brought about it, and those things.
So it really all dates back to when we first moved to Plano.
Right.
We were staying in far north Dallas, and we were exploring all over, from Dallas, Frisco, McKinney, all across. And it never really we didn't even really notice the city boundaries.
Right.
So when we started running Plano Profile and everything was formally really focused on Plano, it didn't make much sense to us because I loved the restaurant in McKinney, or I like to go for drinks in Frisco, etc., etc.
Right.
So we realized that was what the magazine needed. It needed to have this regional focus because that is what the population calls for. I mean, you, for example.
Oh, yeah.
You live in Plano, right?
Correct.
Yeah, here we are in Dallas.
Dallas, yes.
And you go out in Frisco.
Right. Well, and I'm, I can be in all the cities in one day, like I was yesterday. But yes, I mean, I agree. And a lot of people will work in one of the cities, but live in another city, and have family and friends in all the different cities, so they play, all over.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, we changed the look and the editorial focus. It really felt that a region that's booming in such a way that Collin County is deserved and needed a publication that was very high quality, excellent editorial, incredible photography, really exceptional design.
Right. No, and I love how you're focused on all these different cities. I use the magazine as a great piece for my clients moving into the area, because it really does encompass everything for them, not just one city focused.
Yeah.
So and they're usually at that point when they're coming for the first time, they have no idea. They're so overwhelmed because we have so many great cities. So
yeah.
Well, let's talk about the different the different things that you guys put in, what you're focused on, and maybe some of the upcoming events that are, or some favorite events that are coming up.
So what we did when we changed the name is we launched with our diversity issue, and that was part of launching our diversity inclusion initiative, and that really is something that's so important to us, because what is at the core of what diversity means is recognizing the inherent worth of each individual.
Right.
And that to me is what it means to be connecting communities.
Yes.
So that's what our core of what our mission is with the publication.
Okay.
And so a lot of the editorial focus that we like to do might be conversations around a larger topic, such as homelessness or
right.
human trafficking. And it's opening up those conversations and really bringing it into the public light. Hey, this is happening in your neighborhood.
Right, and people don't think that it is. I mean, that's what's, everyone thinks, these North Texas suburb cities, they're little bubbles, and that only happens in Dallas, or only happens, in far South Dallas. No, it's in the backyard. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, of course, this particular issue with our Candy Mountain.
I love it.
Yeah. Just Desserts. So we took a different approach with Just Desserts. So we're connecting the community via desserts and sweet treats. Oh. So we don't always dive into heavy topics. Sometimes it's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the desserts that we highlighted, we've got Romanian couples, or we've got people who've come from Bulgaria, for example, and they're bringing their culture and their sweets, and they're showcasing what matters to them and their culture through their treat. So it's another way of highlighting the diversity that we do have in our culture.
Correct.
I mean, our culture, our cities.
Yes, yes. Well, and it does. It influences, the different people that make up our different cities. How we are so diverse, and how we have people. We're like a melting pot in this area, in our Dallas area, of so many people from all over the world that have now called the Dallas area their new home.
Yeah.
And so bringing those different cultures and bringing them here to share with the community. So I love that. Well, what's some of the favorite restaurants in there, dessert places?
Good question. So we did 52 top desserts.
Oh, gosh.
Coming in at number 1 was the pecan pie at Haywire. Have you tried it?
You know what? I haven't, but I will have to. I love pecan pie.
Well, they do it with a cinnamon roll crust. So I think that was the clincher, or the cincher. Not sure.
Now did you try all 52?
Do I look like I tried all 52? The answer's no. So no, I did not try all 52. The writer of the story, she tried all 52.
Wow.
And it was completely independent. None of the restaurants featured knew that they were going to be featured or included.
Oh, fun.
It was a complete surprise to them.
Oh, wow. Very fun. Well, we have to go try the pecan pie from Haywire, everyone.
Also, their quinoa salad. It's a quinoa and steak salad, so that's a good balance.
Yeah. Well, there you felt like you had a little healthy, and then you can, cheat a little bit.
Nobody knows. No, share it. Come on.
No,
live a little.
Well, and so this issue. What kind of, you guys are so great about doing events and launch parties, which is always a fun, event. You guys put on such a great, great event. There's always a big crowd. Let's talk about your launch parties and kind of how that became, something that you guys do to really promote each issue.
Yes. So our launch parties, we host them once a month, and it's literally just a celebration of each magazine. We host them for our VIP clients, for our VIP community members, and for people who are featured inside the magazine. So our next one, I'm very excited about it. It will have already happened by the time this episode airs, but we're going to be at the National Video Game Museum in Frisco.
Very fun. Very fun. So those gamers.
Exactly. Imagine, we're calling it cocktails, canopies, and retro video games.
Oh, very fun. Mm-hmm. I love myself Pac-Man, Mrs. Pac-Man. That was my favorite.
Well, then you're going to love the cover.
Oh.
Yes, the cover is definitely Pac-Man inspired, or Mrs. Pac-Man inspired. You'll have to wait and see. With a hint of Texas thrown in.
Yes, definitely. So viewers, look for that in your mailboxes.
Exactly. And if you don't get it in your mailbox, you can look at it at localprofile.com/magazine.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And so you guys do great events, and then you also sponsor a lot of different events that are coming up, and coming up. So what do we have going on for the month of May?
So the month of May, I like to call it Festival Month.
Okay.
So there's the Cottonwood Festival in
Yes.
Richardson, which of course is not in Collin County, although actually there are 22,000 people in Richardson who live in Collin County.
Right.
Fun fact. So there's the Cottonwood Arts Festival.
Okay.
There's an Allen Arts Festival at the beginning of May. I believe it's the first weekend in May.
Okay.
So they're two of my favorites. I'm sure there are many others. For example, in fact, several that Local Profile are hosting.
Yes.
One is a Derby Day sip and savor.
Oh.
So that's coming to downtown McKinney.
Very fun.
People will check in at a central place and then be given a map, and you'll walk around each different stop in going from restaurant to restaurant. You'll get a little sip and a little bite, and then move on to the next one. The Derby Day theme, we're inviting people to wear big hats.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love myself a hat.
I mean, who doesn't, right? So that's May 1st.
Oh, very fun.
And then at the end of May, we're starting our Wonder Women series.
Oh.
So our Wonder Women series focuses on empowering women to be the best that they can possibly be, but also to be a support network for other women.
Okay.
And this first session is with Michelle Brennan Hall, with Door of Prosperity, Brennan Wealth Advisors, and it's life mapping.
Oh.
So we'll begin with, and this is because I believe in the power of cocktails.
Yes. I'm sorry.
So we will begin the session with cocktails, networking, canapes, followed by the life mapping session with Michelle, and then we round off again with cocktails and networking to round off the evening.
Perfect.
Yes.
Well,
so that is on May 30th, and again, localprofile.com/calendar.
Okay, so if you're interested in one of those events, make sure you go to that website and see a list of them.
Yes.
So, and would they register if they wanted to go?
Yes, these are all ticketed pre-register events.
Awesome.
Yes.
So get your tickets to those events. And so, looking back, now that you've been here, 4 years with the magazine, what are some of your favorite? Is there like a favorite story, a favorite person you interviewed, a favorite, or something that just really sticks out as like that best memory?
Ironically, none of the stories, I'm proud of the stories that I wrote myself.
Yes.
However, our senior editor, her name is Alex, she's incredibly talented, and she has written some outstanding stories, such as the focus that we did on human trafficking.
Right.
She's also written, again, a focus on homelessness. She wrote about Christina Morris, and in the lead up to writing about the Christina Morris story, she actually went and attended the searches. As every Saturday they did Team Christina actually went and they looked for Christina. And so as part of her research for that story, she went and looked for Christina. And then through that, as she was researching, then Christina, of course, was found. And so the story kind of wraps around everything that happened with Christina and brings to light that people in the community really rallied around that story.
Right. And they rallied around and supported the family, by every Saturday going out there. I mean, that's just that. If that's not community, involvement and community support, I don't know what is. So
exactly. So that's exactly the kind of story that we're always looking for.
Yeah.
When the community is really coming together.
Right.
And we're also looking for stories that help the community come together.
Right.
What kind of way can we put out a story or a focus on a cause that helps people unite?
Right. And I think, with everyone, feels like, our cities have gotten bigger, but things like that tend to bring how close and what more of like a small town community the cities become, and a very tight-knit community. And that's why, I think people end up falling in love with, our Metroplex from other parts of the country, and then they don't want to leave because they've really found that connection through, and that's a perfect example with the Christina Morris story. What other, any other, stories or, experiences, that, you've been experiencing the city for the last 4 years, anything that, you have, it's really touched you, impactful way?
I think really just for me living here and talking to, for example, I interviewed an African-American artist, and he told me a very impactful story about how he'd walked into a Mexican restaurant. Yeah. And as he'd walked in, he opened the door very forcefully, just because he was in a good mood. It was a Friday, he was going for a margarita. He opened the door very forcefully, and as that happened, the door made a big bang. And this man, a policeman, I don't know which city this happened in, but anyway, the policeman jumped up and immediately drew his gun on him.
Oh gosh.
And so he gave that as an example of things that have happened to him that he feels happened because he's African American.
Oh, that's sad.
And I think when you're a white person, these things don't happen to you, and so your instinct is to think these things don't happen. But just because they're not happening to you doesn't mean they're not happening.
And happening in your own backyard.
Exactly. And I think for me, I'm very passionate just making sure that those stories get told and that other people realize that, yes, it's not happening to you, but it is happening, and we need to talk about that.
Yes, we need to bring a light that, you know, there's real things, real issues.
Yeah.
The same things that you see on the national news are really happening in your backyard too.
Exactly.
And it is, I mean, again, we are such a diverse culture, and that's, you know, it's a great thing because we're not in that little bubble of, you know, one culture. We have many cultures out there. And so we can learn different things from all those different cultures. So we've gone over, we've gone over events that are coming up. Anything that's, you know, brings some light of, you know, we have a lot of family viewers. Anything that brings light that's coming up that may be, you know, targeted for our families out there that are looking for, especially with, you know, we're rolling out towards the end of school, and we're getting to that time of the year. They're always looking for family, you know, time. So anything that we're going to be highlighting about that?
So actually, our July issue is our family issue.
Okay.
So in that issue, again, because school's out and people are looking for that kind of thing, so we're kind of searching around for what are fun things for families to do.
Right.
And on a personal note, some of the fun things that I like to do with my family are, you know, the swimming pool. Particularly, there's a new place that opened in Grand Prairie, I believe. It's called Epic Waters.
Yes.
Have you heard of it?
I have heard of that.
It's a lot of fun.
Oh,
it's, I mean, we went in January because it's indoor, but then they also can open the roof.
Right.
And they have a great area for kids, great area for adults. They have a bar, so I like that.
Yes. Gotta have the bar.
And so that's one thing. I love the Arboretum down in Dallas, the zoo. But then just looking at what your city provides, or even what your neighboring city provides, because all the cities have amazing swimming pool facilities, incredible libraries. I recently just discovered the library, and it seems silly, but a 2-year-old gets bored of the books that you have for them. And there's only so many books you can buy, but the library, I walk out of there with 20 books.
Well, and they always do great programs. When my kids were small, I used to always look online on the calendars and go to different, you know, look what's going on. They'd have puppet shows and just storytelling, different things that would appeal to them, and they loved it and they looked forward to going. And we made that, you know, we also made that a library day, so they had that little activity, plus they got to check out their books, and they loved that checking out experience, that they got to check it out. But the other thing, what was nice about the library, and people I think, you know, don't do it as much, but I always grew up doing that, is that it's a sense of you're borrowing this, so you've got to take care of it, and then you're giving it back. And so that, you know, pride, and that, you know, that they're not going to, you know, they're going to take, you know, care of this item for that time being. So, well, great. Well, it was such a pleasure, Rebecca. I enjoyed learning more about Local Profile. Readers, get online at
localprofile.com, and if you want to look at the actual virtual edition, it's at localprofile.com/magazine.
Perfect. Well, cheers to the new name.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Community Cocktails with Kimberly. If you'd like to contact Kimberly with your real estate needs, you can reach her at kimberlywoodard.ebby.com. Hope you enjoyed our guest this week. Tune in every first and third Wednesday of the month for insights from industry leaders in your DFW area. Remember, don't just love your home, love your community.